Your Honor, Tammy Carbone would like to make the first impact statement. She's going to bring up Candace Eaton with her just for a little help.
She may. She may come up. Ms. Carbone may come up with Ms. Eaton, and they may both take seats to my right. Ms. Carbone, I want very much to hear what you have to tell me. I just want to remind you of what I'm sure Mr. Camelio and Ms. Strasnick have told you, which is this is your opportunity to address me about the impact that your brother's death has had upon you and your family. I want you to direct your remarks to me. I am your audience, not Ms. Church. Mm-hmm. And with that, would you just state your name, and then I'd like to hear anything you'd like to tell me.
Tammy Carbone.
Go ahead, Ms. Carbone.
We are addressing the court to share how the crime committed by Judy Church has impacted our family's life. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this statement as part of your consideration during the sentencing. Since the murder of our loved one, Leroy Fowler Jr., our lives have been permanently affected. The way we have been affected.
Our lives have been profoundly affected. The ways we have all been affected have been immense. Sleepless nights, grief beyond explanation, anger, sadness, confusion, the list goes on. We all have navigated our grief in our own ways, not knowing how we will feel one day to the next. Beyond the roller coaster of emotion, we all have our children that we've had to explain this situation to, and we have had to try to help them through this as well, which has been something indescribable, and have to not only try to explain to a child, but to help them get through their grief when we as adults have trouble handling our own pain we are experiencing. Losing a loved one is painful no matter what, but when it happens at the hands of someone else, it brings a pain like you've never felt before. Leroy is deeply missed by our family beyond anything we could ever say in words. Leroy was a father, a son, a brother, a grandfather, an uncle, a cousin, and a friend to many. Throughout the course of this trial, a picture was painted by the defense of Leroy that didn't capture who he truly was. Leroy was a happy-go-lucky man that truly loved life, his dogs, and going on adventures. Whether it was going on camping trips with his family, catching frogs with his nieces and nephews, laughing by the fire, or feeling the freedom and love of riding his motorcycle. As a kid, he was a great baseball player, which was where he fell in love with the game, and later taught his son and nephews how to play. The whole family would love to get together and play baseball in the summertime. Leroy would also play street hockey with the boys and enjoy fishing. Another one of his enjoyments was tinkering with bikes. He also loved jumping in the car on a weekend with his sisters and spending a whole day yard sailing to see what treasures they could all find. Leroy was a hard-working man, a man that would do anything to help anyone. If you needed him, he would be there, no questions asked. One thing Leroy took pride in was the title he earned later in life, a grandfather. He loved spending time with his grandson, but due to his life being taken too soon, he never got to meet his most recent grandson. We, the family, recommend the court impose the maximum sentence allowed by law, life without parole, due to the extreme cruelty and atrocious nature of this murder. Thank you for taking the time to consider our statement and allowing our voices to be heard in this process and to share the impact of this terrible loss our family has endured.
Ms. Eaton, would you tell me your full name, please?
Candace Eaton.
And what is your relationship to Ms. Carbone and or Mr. Fowler?
I'm her daughter-in-law.
You're Ms. Carbone's daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for assisting Ms. Carbone. Ms. Carbone, I thank you very much for your statement. I very much wanted to hear what you have to say. I can see the anguish
you.
that you're still experiencing now. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank
but
you
thank
so
you for
much.
sharing those remarks with me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Camelio.
Your Honor, Barbara Randall also wrote something that she would like the court to hear, but asked if I would read it. So with the court's permission, I'll do that now.
Is Ms. Randall in attendance?
She is, Your Honor.
Ms. Randall? Yes. Thank you for being here. Go ahead, Mr. Camelio.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Barbara Randall, and I am here to speak about the loss of Leroy Fowler, a man who was deeply loved and whose absence has left a space in our hearts that can never be filled. Leroy was more than what you've heard in this courtroom. He was a partner, father, grandfather, brother, and someone who would give the shirt off his back to anyone in need. If a friend called, Leroy showed up, no questions asked. He could build just about anything with his hands, and he took pride in fixing things, making something broken whole again. He loved riding his motorcycle, feeling that freedom, and living life in his own way. What we had together may not have been a conventional love story, but it was ours. Through every up and down, every challenge, we still chose each other, and we were happy. Leroy loved the simple things, like our weekend yard sailing trips. Those were our moments, walking side by side, looking for treasures we didn't need but somehow couldn't pass up. Leroy always thought he was finding something valuable, even if the rest of us knew it probably wasn't. But that was Leroy. He could see worth where others didn't, and he brought the same outlook to the people in his life. When Judy Church took Leroy's life, she didn't just take him from me. She took him away from his children and grandchildren and my grandchildren who looked at him as their own. She took away the love, the time, and the memories they should have had with him. The fun times, the impulsive trips, the laughter we all shared together. And she didn't just take his life, she made him suffer. Leroy's final days were filled with confusion, pain, and fear. He was left struggling, not understanding what was happening to his own body, fighting for his life as it was slowly being taken from him. No one deserves to suffer like that. No one deserves to have their life ended in fear and pain at the hands of someone he thought he could trust. That is something we will never forget. She also took away our future. Leroy and I were still writing our story, and we will never know how it would have unfolded because that choice was stolen from us. Today, we ask the court to consider not only the loss of Leroy's life, but the suffering he endured and the pain that has been left behind for all of us. We ask for the maximum sentence. Because while Judy Church will continue to live, even if it is behind the walls of a jail cell, we will never get Leroy back. She will wake up with each day with her life ahead of her in some form. We do not have that, and Leroy does not have that. She will never truly understand the pain she put him through or the depths of the loss that she has caused. Leroy was loved, he mattered, and he deserves so much more than what was done to him. Nothing will ever replace him, but we ask that justice reflect the seriousness of what was taken, not just his life, but his future and ours. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Randall, for those remarks. I appreciate them.